Hey guys, it's Danny, and today in the greenhouse, great news! 19 degrees Celsius. This means finally autumn has arrived. Now, this is a good thing for many orchids actually, which bloom according to season, and the variation in temperature actually helps them. So all in all, it's wonderful. However, this also means that I need to adapt a little bit the care for my orchids, especially the ones potted in semi-hydro. And since I did have quite a lot of questions from you guys asking me how I'm gonna handle these orchids in the winter time with the reservoir of water, I'm gonna tell you what I already started to do and how I plan to take care of them, and not only them, the other orchids as well, during autumn and winter time. Now, first off, during the colder seasons, usually orchids tend to slow down growth. Now, this will not happen in all territories. In the regions close to the equator, things will obviously not change all of that much. Day length does not vary so much. Also, temperature might not vary as much either. So orchid slowing down growth only happens the closer you go to the poles. As day length shortens and temperatures go down, orchids slow down growth, and it will become very noticeable. And I have to say, with my orchids, I am already noticing it. That is the downside. New growths that are just emerging right now will take a lot more to mature than in the summertime or even springtime. The good thing is, flowers tend to last longer as well. Since temperatures are lower, metabolism is decreased as well. Since temperature is lower, water doesn't evaporate so fast, and in some regions humidity can be actually increased. But since humidity is high and temperatures are low and water doesn't evaporate so fast, I do have to adjust my care routine for all orchids, but mainly for the semi-hydroponic orchids. Now, first of all, I stopped repotting. I will only perform a few repottings, mainly with orchids that are new and are still in their organic medium, but with the old orchids, pretty much the repotting has stopped. And this is because I really don't want to distress root systems, even in the slightest, when it's really cold and growth is diminished. So for this reason, my repotting schedule will have to wait until springtime. But that's okay. I have to say I kind of need a break from repottings. So first and foremost, no more repottings this time of year. And of course, if you consider that you really need to repot an orchid, it doesn't matter the season. But if you're doing a maintenance repotting, or you're thinking, I want to change something with this orchid, maybe I should repot it, I would advise not doing it in cold seasons, because orchids just take longer to adjust, maybe to bounce back. If you can and you're not risking your orchid's health, just wait until spring. The next important aspect that I need to change is watering. Now, in the case of my older orchids, it's pretty easy. I just don't water as often. Water runs through the pot and goes out through the drainage holes. There's really no drama with the old setup. And by the old setup, I mean the Ceramis and leca mixture and the pebbles at the top. Also, watering frequency is highly diminished right now comparing to summertime. So overall, I need to just run some water through the pot, maybe once a week, maybe once every 10 days. I would really prefer my orchids to be dry rather than wet in the winter time. But what about the semi-hydroponic pots? Because they do not have drainage holes at the bottom, they have them on the side, practically maintaining a reservoir. Well, it's pretty simple. I don't necessarily need to fill the reservoir. I don't need to flush these orchids because I will not fertilize as much as in the summertime, simply because the growth is not the same. I was already fertilizing very little. Now I'm only fertilizing about once a month, depending on the orchids and of course what I see from my orchids. If I see signs of deficiency, I might increase it a little bit. But usually, like last year, I got away with the minimum quantity of fertilizer during winter time, and I upped it back in the spring and I didn't have many issues. So because there is a lesser risk of me depositing and creating salt buildups, I don't need to flush these pots necessarily, and I don't need to perform the normal semi-hydroponic watering, which means offering a large quantity of water and practically flushing the pot. Now, I'll link you down below to a video which explains how I water. For those of you who already know, I use that little pump sprayer, and I do so until water starts to run through the little holes and fills my humidity tray. Well, now in the winter time, I don't really do that. Because I watered so many times, I already know kinda in how many seconds my reservoir fills. I don't even need to see it. So what I do is just run the water on top of the pot for a few seconds, but not enough to fill the reservoir. I will fill it slightly, maybe up to here. And then what's going to happen is that the medium will just wick it up, or the water will evaporate, because it still evaporates even in lower temperatures, just not as much, not as fast. And pretty much the water will just disperse inside the medium. The system will work just as it worked now, but the quantity in the reservoir will just be tiny. So I'm gonna fill it up until here. In one day, it's pretty much gonna disappear from the reservoir and spread in the whole medium, and it will remain moist for, I don't know, I'm gonna have to see, 5 days, 7 days. So I kinda need to go through it a little bit before I decide on the frequency. And as a side note, this pot was watered 3 days ago, and as you can see, there is still a little bit of water on the bottom. I certainly do not need to water it today, and I'm pretty sure I will need to water it again next week. In the summertime, this doesn't happen. In the summertime, I can get away with 5 days, but as I see it here, it will be more than 5 days in between waterings. And this is the very first time that temperatures went so low. It's already 20 degrees. But yeah, up until now we did have high temperatures. So the last time that I watered, I did fill the reservoir. From now on though, I don't think it's gonna be the case, so I'll just start to decrease the quantity in the reservoir, and pretty much that should be it. But Danny, what happens if you pour too much water and you fill the reservoir? It's pretty simple, although maybe not very practical. But in case accidents happen, I just have to tilt the pot. Oh, there we go. This one still had some water from 3 days ago. Oh, there we go. This will last me a long, long time. It is actually the time for me to stop filling the reservoir, but there you go. I can tilt the pot and I can get rid of most of the water in the reservoir. I will still be left with a little bit inside, and that's what I want. Now, regarding temperature, it's not gonna go lower than 17 degrees Celsius in my greenhouse. During daytime, the greenhouse will benefit from sun, and in my climate, I have a lot of sun. Very, very few gloomy days, very, very few rainy days. The main reason why I don't use rainwater, it doesn't rain here. So the temperature in the greenhouse will be pretty high during daytime, and during nighttime, I am using my AC set on heat, and that keeps my temperature at 17 degrees Celsius easily. If I see though that my semi-hydro orchids are starting to show cold stress, I think I will go ahead and buy a heat pad or a heat mat. I am almost certain that I need to do this for my Phalaenopsis orchid, the summer blooming ones, but I'm not entirely sure about the orchids just yet. We'll just have to wait and see. But of course I thought about this and I planned it in advance, and if case be, I will buy a heating pad. As for the other orchids, which are still in the old medium, as I was saying, not much change. It's gonna be better than last year, because last year I was using clay pots and that kept everything even cooler. In the case of deciduous orchids, such as the catasetums, I will start to decrease their watering depending on the stage in which the orchid is at. You can see this particular one has a lot of leaves still. The one next to it almost has no leaves at all, so that will have to apply individually. And for orchids that do require a winter rest, I decided not to put them outside this year, so the Dendrobium nobilis will stay in the greenhouse. They are already not fertilized anymore. I still water them because they still shrivel, but I'm gonna see what happens if I keep them in the greenhouse. We'll just see about the flower count. And about vandas, they're just gonna get watered as they did until now. But this time of the year, I do not soak them. I just put them in the bucket, get them out. And because of the microfiber, I can go 3 to 4 days in between waterings, so it's even less of a hassle. I also will continue to run my fans in my greenhouse, and I will regularly open the window because adding fresh air into your growing space is a real help. Imagine the buildup of spores and bacteria in your growing space, which is inevitable. We all have it. It's nothing to worry about. But if you maintain it there without adding any type of fresh air, either coming from a different room, which benefits from a window, either from directly a window, you know, it's really not gonna end well if you don't refresh the air. And of course, with the circulation, everything should be okay. So bottom line, I'm not really worried. I'm actually looking forward to lower temperatures because I don't need to water as often. And of course, it's a lot less work. And also this year I'm using plastic pots. Theoretically, things should not be as cool as last year when all of my orchids were in clay pots. And that's about it. So alrighty guys, thank you for watching. Hope you've enjoyed this video. These are the things that I am adjusting and changing in my greenhouse as we move forward into winter. So I hope this was useful for you, and you know the drill. If you've enjoyed this video, please give it a thumbs up. If you hated it, give it a thumbs down. Subscribe to my channel for regular orchid videos, and don't forget to turn on notifications so you never miss a video. This weekend I am making my second channel live, so stay tuned for that on Sunday. And I am really excited about it. I hope you like it. So with that said, I'll see you guys next time. Bye. So the new spike of the Millennium Magic is growing normal, as you can see. No more fasciation. Thank you guys so much for tipping me off with that fasciation thing. I do believe that's what it was. And yeah, I really hope it's not going to be displayed anymore on this orchid. I think it was just a glitch, really. And the external conditions and my little mess up with the fertilizer, maybe it caused it, maybe not. I'm not entirely sure. But yeah, it would appear this time around we don't have that mutation. So I'm so happy. Really hope we're going to have some black flowers to enjoy. And right now I'm standing right above the windy light. And the fragrance is so beautiful. This year we have 2 flower spikes, as you can see, full of flowers. And it's just, my whole greenhouse smells like this guy. It's absolutely phenomenal. This orchid is so well worth the wait and all the hassle, because this is a big orchid.